I think of the adventure semester as a 10-week life skills boot camp for teenagers who have more freedom and responsibility than the average teen.
The adventure semester is an intensive 10-week program where unschoolers and traditional school kids are coming together, and every single day they're facing a different challenge. Very much this opportunity to push their limits, and both as individuals and as groups.
The Adventure Semester is a program for homeschooled or unschooled teenagers. It is a rigorous, jam-packed, hyper-creative 10 weeks of learning through problem solving, but actually doing.
The Adventure Semester is a program for older teenagers, helping them to develop the skills to have a vision and make it happen, to design their lives, to carry it out, to fail, to fall on their face, to try something they've never done before, and to be able to do it in a group setting where they're learning communication skills and group skills. And so it's 21st century skills mixed with fun and exploring the world.
The adventure semester started in Paonia, Colorado, which is a tiny little town that most people have never heard of. It's on the western slope, and it's different from other parts of Colorado. It's dry, it's high elevation, and it's where Dev, the co-director of this program, lives and has been for 20 years.
What makes Paonia special is that it's different than what most people have experienced in their lives. There's a sense of community, a tangible sense of community. People who like each other, have worked together, whose lives are interdependent, who've watched each other's kids be born and each other's parents die.
Paonia is such an interesting, quirky, amazing place. I mean, truly, my first day walking downtown, it hit me. It was like, whoa, this is not your average small mountain town. And I think it has to do with the people here.
And what's so cool about Paonia is that it's this weird melting pot of a lot of different types of people. There's sort of off-the-grid type people like Dev, there are coal miners, there are ranchers, there are orchard people, and they all sort of coalesce in this one beautiful valley.
And that's not that common in the United States these days. And I think that's what inspires people as they come here and they see folks who are designing their own lives. Hardly anybody lives in Paonia because they moved here for work. They lived here because they want to live here and they like the people and they like the community. And it's people that are doing it themselves, who are mostly self-employed, who are making up a lifestyle of their own. So they get to be around people who are inspiring.
There's a lot of just radical individuals and characters, and I think that's what has made Paonia special in terms of a lot of the challenges that have pushed adventurers to tap into the local community and have conversations and extract some of these stories and have really good interactions with them.
That combination of people gave us an interesting sort of canvas to work with when we would go out and try to interact with the public, because the public meant a whole lot of different things in Paonia. It was also a really beautiful place to live in an off-the-grid and more rustic setting.
And I think the other component of being here in Paonia is the land. Like being here on Dev's off-grid homestead and learning what it's like to live more minimalistically and connect more with your environment and just soak it up, the smell of the juniper, the sunrise coming over Mount Lamborn.
And that's big enough and different enough that it shakes up people and allows them to switch paradigms a little and see themselves freshly.
So some of us stayed in tents, some of us stayed in teepees, and then there were 2 bunkhouses that were pretty rustic, like old school summer camp style. And we had an outdoor kitchen, and most of our activities took place outdoors. And so Paonia really lent itself to some of the challenges like go and sit in the woods by yourself for 5 hours and contemplate some deep question about your life. Or a challenge that Ari and I led about climbing the mountain that we see every day just across the valley from us and seeing if we could do it within one day. Anyways, because we were so isolated, it gave us a nice feeling of community and a nice insularity right at the beginning of the program, which might have been lost if we started in a bigger town like Crested Butte or certainly a city like Denver. The adventure challenges are supposed to be self-contained challenges that give you some sort of life skill or awareness that you didn't have before taking this program. And it should be something that feels really relevant to becoming a young adult or entering into the world of adulthood.
Something that's going to challenge you and the students to do something they've never done before, to do something that's going to help them gain a life skill or break through some mental boundaries they put up in front of themselves that maybe aren't serving them, and to have them have to come together to accomplish it.
A good challenge is something that feels exhilarating and really scary, and there's a big chance that you might fail, but you're going to give it your all. Some challenges might have a really tangible outcome, like screen printing a t-shirt, and some challenges are more introspective, try to figure out who you are, who you want to be, what you want to put out into the world.
So for example, I've led challenges regarding building your own personal website and presenting yourself really effectively to the world, or how to contact people on a college campus or total strangers in a new city and ask them for some of their time. Sometimes there are adventures that are not so obviously connected to real-world skills. And so, for example, one of the early adventures that was really popular was sneaking through a town unseen. And how does that really connect to being an adult? It's not that clear, but what was embedded in that was a whole lot of teamwork and communication skills, and the communication was limited because you couldn't be kind of shouting at each other. And so within that, they were learning how to work with each other, which any high school teacher or employer will say, yes, teamwork is actually a really important thing. And so we try to come at all these different skills and attitudes and awarenesses from the perspective of, let's make this something that's really fun and interesting to do as a group, but also is challenging and it's going to make you sweat a little bit. And I feel like that's the kind of stuff that's missing from most high school classes or perhaps even like traditional summer camp programs.
They're also different. It's hard to try to really, for me to grab a hold of that and feel like this is exactly what the adventure challenge is like, because they can vary so much, and that it's going to push you in a lot of different ways, and you're going to brush up against things that are uncomfortable, and you're going to feel like you're in your element too, and sometimes even in the same day.
So the first 5 weeks of the adventure semester was in Paonia, and now we're in the next phase, 4 weeks in Crested Butte. We're in the Crested Butte hostel, which is the same one that we've used for the Unschool Adventures Writing Retreat program for the past 2 years. And I found this hostel when I was looking around searching for options in the US, and this one just turned out to have the best setup for roughly 25 teenagers plus a group of staff. And it's just really comfortable and convenient. We can walk easily into town, into the grocery store, and the downstairs common area is just incredibly comfy, and it's like it's made for teenagers. And we're in this hallway because it seemed to be the quietest place we could snag an interview. This is up where everyone lives, and there's actually Katie here, and now Gabriella, waiting to get past us because they live up here and now they're trying to go back downstairs. Let's go.
Hi, nice to see you. Hello. Let's go for an interview.
Crested Butte is a small little mountain town, and it's really safe, and there's one main street, and you can walk around everywhere without really getting lost. And so we can let people go out on their own, and we can let groups go out and do challenges that require more interaction with the public. It was sometimes hard to find the public in Paonia. They just didn't exist. But lots of tourists come to Crested Butte, and there's a sizable population that lives here year-round. And so it lets us do challenges that require more strangers, and also challenges that are more tech-intensive, for which we need constant Wi-Fi access and lots of power, and stuff that's more difficult to do in an off-grid homestead on a mesa.
In Paonia, it was hard for us to run certain challenges because we just didn't have the volume, the population that we needed in Paonia. It's a pretty small town. So I feel like Paonia, we steered towards challenges like hiking up a mountain and thinking about a really big question in your life and spending 8 hours by yourself. Whereas in Crested Butte, we have people in this town, and we're able to do more things like go out and ask advice or have a really deep, meaningful conversation with a stranger, or an entrepreneurial challenge where you go out for a day and try to learn how to make cash.
We were in an outdoor kitchen before, which had it's in where we were off the grid via water and electricity. When you're here in Crested Butte in the hostel kitchen, you're not like fighting off hornets while you're trying to make something sweet, and you don't have to worry about like catching all your arm hair on fire from the propane stove and things like that. There's all these little things like that. I think in general the way that it's changed the challenges is that it kind of shifted as the weather shifted here in Colorado this year, where it felt like we started getting cold weather and snow right when we moved from Peonia. It was like this warm place with a lot of time outdoors, a lot more walking, probably more contemplative feeling in nature. Where here you have the luxury of having coffee shops and Wi-Fi everywhere. So I think that's the biggest challenge, and that lends to there being more people here, so you can do more challenges that involve the community that are right there down the street. Like if you're doing a scavenger hunt or something, or you're trying to do the paperclip challenge, this is a much easier place to do it because there's so many more people in one place. That's the main thing, people. There's a lot more people here.
I feel like between Peonia and Crested Butte, we're challenging them, but it's still very safe. We're still in this bubble. We're still all with each other, and it feels so safe. And I feel like the contrast between Crested Butte and Denver is like, Denver, it gets real.
What that makes me think of when I think about going to Denver is that we're transitioning slowly, starting in Peonia through Crested Butte into Denver, from a very rural space to a very dense cityscape. And the main thing that comes along with that is people, which is huge. There's already been challenges where the students have been asked to get a hold of people in Denver that they'd like to communicate with and get to know, that they admire, maybe because they're artists or because they're really great cooks or because they do the kind of work that the students are interested in. And there's just such a high density of people, you're bound to find someone that you really want to learn a lot about. So I think the social aspect of the challenges shifts away from challenges that utilize the land and the open space into challenges that utilize the social landscape in a lot more ways.
We're in a big city. We're right in the middle of downtown. The students are going to be taking a lot of public transportation. They're going to be looking at apartments, trying to figure out, when they go to university or move out of their parents' house, how do they do that?
I think also in Denver we have the opportunity to lead challenges that help the students understand what it would be like to live in a big city. Researching places to live, what your budget would be, how to get around using the transit system and things like that.
I feel like the challenges in Denver are way more real world challenges. How to get around the city, how to feed yourself, how to find an apartment and go look at it, how to interview to be a roommate, how to find your way when you're lost.
I think what makes the adventure semester ambitious is that we are cramming in so much into a short time period.
This is just non-stop from the moment you wake up to pretty much the moment you go to sleep. It's a full day.
And these are long days. A lot of them start at 7:30 or 8 in the morning and really are not, you might get a few hours off around dinner time, but it goes all the way until 9 p.m. at night.
I think this program is so ambitious mainly because the sheer number of hours that we are working. It's go, 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 go every day, and you have to have a lot of ambition and a lot of persistence to get through the challenges every day.
And so as a participant in this program, every week, and in fact every weekday, you are confronted with a brand new challenge that you don't really know what to expect.
On a daily basis, you're expanding, you're pushing your comfort zone. And I don't think most people do that on a daily basis in their everyday lives.
It's a brand new thing that you just have to say yes to and throw yourself into. And that's not a common experience in schools or camps or other places.
Our goal is to teach those somewhat intangible skills that we hope that young people have. That ability to figure out what matters and incorporate it into their lives right now and make it a priority. And yet, how do you teach that skill? Often we look and say the people that have those skills do well. But there's not normally a class in that.
I think the primary thing that makes us ambitious is that we're really questioning the foundation of our educational system for people of this age. That's really the most ambitious thing. I think the amount of time we're spending is, that takes a lot of energy. I think that, the amount of effort being put into it is really amazing, but I think that all comes from that one core ambition, which is to question the kind of educational system we're in and try to create something better.
The people that have those skills are the ones that are starting businesses and leading social change and having a sense of power over their own lives and a sense of I can make things happen in the world and life is fun. If you have that skill, you can learn anything. Everything else follows from there, and that's what we're doing.
You wake up every morning to start your venture that you just learned about the night before, and you have to constantly jump hurdles to make sure that you can finish your challenge. And then you have a few short hours to write a blog post, make a 90-second video, and come up with a decent oral presentation for the group. And so you're putting yourself out there every night. And sometimes you fail, and sometimes you come out on top. Yeah, and then you might have time to take a nap and eat some dinner and do it all over again the next day.
And so to do that continually for 10 weeks, I think that's what makes this ambitious.